Ryan Johansen makes his return to Bridgestone Arena tonight. What reaction is he going to get from the Preds crowd? Plus, Monday plus minus, breaking down a big win over the Blackhawks today on the Locked On Predators podcast.
Your Locked On Predators, your daily podcast on the Nashville Predators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making the Locked On Predators podcast your first listen of the day, every single day. We are your free daily Nashville Predators podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, I want to start with a special shout out to our loyal Locked On Pred heads out there, the everydayers who tune into every single show. We love you guys. We appreciate the support you give us week in, week out. I'm Nick Morgan. I'm a writer at Penalty Box Radio, and I have a partner in crime.
You do. I'm Ann Kimmel. I'm a writer at the Hockey News.
Today's episode is also brought to you by Sleeper. Download the Sleeper app and use promo code LOCKEDONNHL to get a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. All right, Ann, a big weekend of hockey for the Nashville Predators. They finally snapped the losing streak to the Chicago Blackhawks. Stymied Connor Bedard in the process. Oh, he had his fair share of moments where he
had some
looked like a superstar.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in Monday's plus minus, breaking down the highs and lows from that game and the past week of Predators hockey. There's some juicy stuff to get to in there this week, Ann. But first, we'll talk about what's going on tonight for the Nashville Predators. The Colorado Avalanche come to town. Not only is it a big deal hosting the Avs, who are one of the top teams in the Central Division right now, but it's also the return of Ryan Johansen to Bridgestone Arena, Ann.
I mean, it's just going to hit in the feels, this one. Mattias Ekholm was a tough one. Ryan Johansen, I think, tonight is going to be another one because I know a lot of people didn't like that $8 million contract, but Ryan Johansen was one of the most endearing hockey players I think this town has ever seen. Like, he just, his vibe when he was on the 2017 Cup run, what he did leading up to that, how he ended up not being able to participate in the finals. Like, Ryan Johansen, he's a little bit a staple here. So I don't know what tonight. I'm interested to see what tonight feels like, and I'm also a little nervous because I wonder if the Predators aren't careful, if Ryan Johansen's not going to score a goal at Bridgestone Arena. And wow,
that man's going to be motivated.
He's going to be motivated.
To score a goal. It's interesting, and we were talking about this a little bit, Ann. About maybe questions over what kind of reaction Johansen's going to get from the Bridgestone Arena crowd. Now, to be fair, like, Ryan Johansen deserves a massive standing ovation.
Hell yes.
Tweet video. Same deal to Mattias Ekholm.
Yes.
Like that level of just unified support.
Yes.
Deserved and going to get are two very different things. You know, because I agree with you. I think there are people who look at that $8 million contract and think Johansen didn't necessarily live up to that.
Right.
I think there are people who kind of look at Johansen as sort of a, let's say, poster child of the era where the Predators kind of went all in on some players that didn't exactly work out. But, Ryan Johansen, to me, Ann, was one of the most underrated Predators of that era. And that's weird for a guy with $8 million to say to his name. But, he was by far, other than, actually, no, I take that back. I was about to say, other than Pekka Rinne, I'm going to take that back and just say he was the best player during that 2017 Cup run. And I would argue that if he was still in the lineup, the Predators might have a Stanley Cup to their name now. That's just how critical he was. That's how good he was at shutting down the other team's top line. 50 assists in a season was a big reason that Jofa line was so dominant. And I think a lot of people forget just that one, kind of that span from like late 2018 to, the end of 2019. The Jofa line was one of the most dominant top lines in hockey.
Yeah,
and,
they were.
And injuries sort of derailed that and maybe kept them from, getting to the 80, 90 point plateau. But, you look at the numbers and it was just incredible what they were doing to other teams out there.
Yeah.
There is a lot of reasons that Ryan Johansen should be cheered, should be revered by this Bridgestone Arena crowd. And I hope a lot of people can put away the contract stuff and see that.
Yeah, I agree with you too. And on ice, Ryan Johansen, I 100% believe, like you do, if Ryan Johansen is healthy and in the Stanley Cup Finals, this is one of those, like, could it have been with Ryan Johansen? And I agree with you. I really hope that he gets a warm reception. This is somebody who not only did a lot for the Predators on the ice, but this is somebody who was all in this community. Ryan Johansen was all in Nashville and community relations. And so I hope he gets that. I do think that the people who maybe aren't as high on Johansen aren't as high on him because of dollar signs. But Ryan Johansen's doing okay, y'all. Ryan Johansen is doing okay with the Colorado Avalanche, which, yay for him and all that. But
tied for second on the team in goals this year with 6.
Yep. He's got 4 power play goals. Y'all stay out of the box or it's going to be twice as humiliating.
Yeah. And it's going to be a tough game regardless, Anne, because this is the Colorado Avalanche. They're on a bit of a roll, had a big comeback win over the Dallas Stars the past week. They've won 3 consecutive games after kind of a iffy stretch in the middle. Remember, they had that big unbeaten start to start the year. A couple of people got banged up. They had that high profile 7-0 loss to Vegas. And then things kind of fell off for them a little bit, but they've now won 3 straight. And you look over and it's all the people that you think would be carrying the team are carrying the team. Cale Makar, 10 points in the last 5 games. Val Mishkushkin has all of a sudden gotten hot, 5 goals in 5 games. This is a lineup, and that's going to be tough for the Nashville Predators to try to contend with. So what are you looking for tonight in terms of something the Predators have to do to get that win?
For me, I think a lot of this game is going to come down to goaltending, which makes me a little nervous, but goaltending, because the Colorado Avalanche are second in the league in shots per game. They are putting the puck on net. If UC Saros is in net, that may work to his favor. He seems to do a little bit better when he is busier, perhaps. And Georgiev has been a little hot and cold for the Colorado Avalanche in some of his games. He's got an .890 save percentage. It's one of those things where when he is on, he's very on, but when he's not, he can let in a lot of goals. They've had some games where they've been scored on quite a bit. So I really do think 2 of the players to really watch are who is in net. Again, Kevin Lankinen, big game. Do you think are they starting UC Saros tonight?
I think you have to in this situation. You got to put UC Saros out there and just kind of hope he bounces back from sort of his rough play. And his last start was a little bit better, but I think you got to go guns blazing. It's interesting to me, Anne, because UC Saros .892 save percentage, 4-9 record. Alexander Georgiev, .890 save percentage, worse than Saros, but a 10-4 record. So I think that it also maybe goes to show you a little bit that Georgiev is maybe getting a little bit more support in front of him than maybe UC Saros is used to getting.
Yeah, I would agree. I also think it's going to be interesting to see how these teams do when it comes to momentum, because it seems like Colorado has had a stretch where they were win big, lose big, and it was kind of a momentum thing where there were some games where when things kind of got away from them, it seemed like it frazzled them, which is not a Colorado Avalanche trait. It was kind of an odd thing to see. That's something the Nashville Predators have been working on. We talk about they just defeated the Dallas Stars. Dallas was up 3-0. Colorado scored 6 goals. So Nashville has to keep their foot on the gas. This is really going to be a game where I think the team that dominates momentum is going to walk away with the win. So this is going to be a learning opportunity for the Nashville Predators. They're going to have to kind of get some ducks in a row if they want to walk away with a win tonight. So we'll see.
And I think it's going to be one of those things where if the Preds get some early momentum, they have to work in that second period, especially to work and try to keep that. They got to work on that early start, but it's also important for them to keep that momentum in the second period. Something they did a little bit better at this weekend when they took on the Chicago Blackhawks, finally broke that losing streak.
Come on.
Thank God it's over. A couple of highlights from that game, plus the past week of Predators hockey. We'll break it down in this week's plus minus. First, though, want to mention today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, patience. That's what helps any good sports team bring home the winning trophy, and it's also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your car, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. And that's because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. So keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. All right, and it's Monday, which means it's time for Plus Minus. This is where we go through the past week of Nashville Predators hockey, give pluses to players and things that we want to give a shout out to, minuses to things that maybe need some work. And of course, the Nashville Predators broke the losing streak against the Chicago Blackhawks on Saturday afternoon. So there's some good positives to talk about in this one. And what's your first plus?
So my first plus actually is going to come from this Chicago game. And I want to give my first plus to backup goaltender Kevin Lankinen, because let me tell you, he had a great game, stopped 29 of 31 shots, I believe, against Chicago. No power play goals let in. There were some shorthanded breakaways. Kevin Lankinen said, "Not today, Satan." So he had a great game, but I also want to give him a shout out because Kevin Lankinen is in a really tough place to be a backup goaltender. Backing up anybody is challenging. Backing up UC Saros, who is usually somebody who plays the highest volume of games in the NHL, that's a whole different thing. And Kevin Lankinen has worked his tail off to be a guy who's ready at any time. And we talked to, I could go on and on, but I just thought it'd be interesting to hear what Andrew Brunette had to say and what Kevin Lankinen had to say after the game Saturday, because Brunette's been very upfront. Like, Kevin Lankinen is not particularly interested in not playing, I guess is the nice way to say it. Like, he understands UC Saros, but he's like, I've got game. And so we talked to Andrew Brunette and to Kevin Lankinen after the game about just his performance and this process for him. This is what they had to say.
What have the conversations with him been like? When we all know Saros is going to play a lot this year, he does that, but to stay ready and to play as well as he did, what have the conversations been like kind of leading up to this with Lankinen?
Yeah, they're not easy. He's a competitive guy that wants to play, and he believes in his abilities, and I respect that. And he's a true competitor and a true professional, and he understands where he's at, and he understands juice and all that stuff. But like everybody that puts on a uniform, they want to play, and I'm sure he's a little hurt that he wasn't playing all the time, or he felt he deserved a chance, and he shows today that he can do it. So I'm happy for him.
Yeah, I mean, goaltending is a little special that case because we have only one guy that can be between the pipes, and obviously we got Juice in here, who is a world-class goalie, one of the best goalies in the world. So it's tough to steal some games, but at the same time, I got my own motivation and my own kind of desire to get better and perform and take some steps in my career. So I think that's just the big picture to keep in mind. Work hard every single day and earn your starts.
It's never easy for somebody in Kevin Lankinen's situation because we talk about this more whenever we talk about somebody like, Phil Tomasino or Michael McCarron, where it's like you need those reps. You
Right.
need those reps to get better. And not only are the Predators, throwing Kevin Lankinen in after, every 2 weeks or, later in the season, even less than that, but you're doing it in critical situations. Kevin Lankinen went out there Saturday against Chicago, his former team. Let's
Yes.
not get that lost in the shuffle.
Yes.
And not only, had to, do well after, not getting a lot of game action this year, but had to get the Preds a win, had to
Right.
kind of dig themselves, out of this big, slide that they've been in. And he was the one to do that. And it's tough being a backup goaltender. And I would love to kind of get, a goaltender guest on the show, like a former NHL goaltender, just kind of talk about the psychology of
Yes.
being a backup goalie and how do you prepare and how do you stay sharp in game shape, not knowing that, you have no idea when you could be on the ice next.
Yeah, this was only his third game, his third start
Yeah.
of the season. And what I love about Kevin Lankinen is they have, he and Saros have a very close relationship. They're very, very good friends on and off of the ice. And this is one of those places where if you were a backup goaltender looking to cash a check, you want to come to Nashville because you're only going to start a handful of games and used to
Yeah.
start. You know what I'm saying? Like you could come to Nashville and be like, this is not a bad gig. But Kevin Lankinen is so focused. And here's something that I will say. We talk about goaltending trade rumors and this and that. If the Nashville Predators were to trade Kevin Lankinen somewhere, that team would get a diamond. And here's what I would say. If they traded and thought this is going to be the backup goaltender, Kevin Lankinen would give whoever was starting a run for their money. That is his drive. He wants to be a starting goaltender in the NHL, and that's what he works for every day. And I give a fat freaking plus to Kevin Lankinen because that's a tough position and he does the work. He does the work. So shout out to Kevin Lankinen. Super happy for him. Just a guy you want to root for anyway, but huge to get this win. And hey, by the way, we're going to put you in net when we're on a 4-game losing streak and you're going to face the next generational talent. Good luck with that, Kevin Lankinen. And Kevin Lankinen said, bring it on. Love it.
There we go. Big shout out to Kevin Lankinen. Yeah, big shout out to him for his performance this weekend. And somebody else I want to highlight, Anne, who kind of strives into that, just kind of goes out there and does well in any opportunity situation. I'm going to give a plus to Gustav Nyquist. Somebody we haven't talked a whole lot about this year, despite being one of the big offseason pickups. Gustav Nyquist was bumped up to the first line in recent weeks. We talked about his, chemistry with Cody Glass at the beginning. Glass went down. He was then added to the Philip Forsberg and Ryan O'Reilly line. And since then, he's been on a bit of a heater, Anne.
Yeah.
5 points in his last 4 games for the Nashville Predators. He got, of course, a big goal against the Chicago Blackhawks on Saturday. And he's a new dad.
Love it.
He's got that new dad energy. You can tell. Why is it, Anne, that it seems like always in hockey, whenever somebody becomes a dad, it's just their play, like right afterward, just get this massive jump. Like they go Gretzky-esque for like a 1 week span after becoming a dad.
Yeah, I really think it's the adrenaline. Like, I think it's some sort of chemical thing. Like the adrenaline just lasts so long. And this is Gustav Nyquist's third baby, little baby Greta, his third daughter. But I'm telling you, he was in rare form. Now he did, and I'm only pointing this out because this is how great a recovery he made. In the game, he had a wide open chance and missed the net. And he afterward was like, oh my gosh, what if that was my chance? But he came back and he had a great game, got a goal. And yeah, big dad energy, Gus Nyquist. Big dad energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Gustav Nyquist, 10 points in 16 games last year. He had only 27 points all of last year. So he's on pace to kind of get back to where we're used to seeing him in the NHL as well. So that's a big deal. Of course, he battled injuries a lot last year. A lot of people worried maybe he'd lost a step, maybe his speed, which was really his bread and butter for his entire game, was maybe dial it back a little bit. But he's out there healthy. He's out there contributing, and he kind of looks like he's going to be that big source of depth scoring that he was for so many years with, Detroit and San Jose and Columbus. So it feels like we haven't talked a lot about Nyquist this year, Anne, but he is starting to turn it up for the Nashville Predators, and it could not have happened at a better time. A team
For real.
It's absolutely need a win here. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. Something just fell off the window outside the house. There's a minus, but there's also some hockey related minuses that we're going to be talking about here shortly.
Yep. First, I'll let you know today's episode is brought to you by our great friends at the Sleeper app. A new NHL season brings all sorts of possibilities. Look, here's what's real. Maybe Philip Forsberg could score 50 goals. The Nashville Predators may be able to climb their way back up into the wild card race, and you could win big by playing daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper, the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL Network. Sleeper is our number one choice for daily fantasy sports, and especially for daily fantasy hockey, because with Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash in daily fantasy hockey contests. All you have to do is pick whether players like Philip Forsberg, Ryan O'Reilly, Nathan McKinnon, or former Predator Ryan Johansen will record more or less than their sleeper projections for things like goals, assists, plus minus, saves, and more in any given game. So download the Sleeper app. You can pull up tonight's game and it will say, click more or less. Will Philip Forsberg have more or less than 0.5 goals? All you have to do is choose. So to win 100 times your cash, you need to correctly predict the outcome of 8 players' stats. You heard me, Preds fans. You can win 100 times your money playing daily fantasy hockey with Sleeper. So start paying attention and nail your picks so you can start winning big. Download the Sleeper app and use our promo code LOCKEDONNHL, and you will get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That's code LOCKEDONNHL. See Sleeper's terms of use for details and locational availabilities.
All right, Ann, let's get to a couple of minuses from the past week of Nashville Predators hockey. Who are you giving a minus to?
I'm actually going to give a minus to a word, and that word is expected. My minus this week is expected, as in Schenn is expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks. Ryan McDonough is expected to be back. He is day to day. Or Nashville Predators, Ryan O'Reilly and Philip Forsberg are in the top 24 expected goals for. Yakov Trenin's expected goals is really good on the team. The word expected is jacking with me, y'all. We are not seeing Luke Schenn and Ryan McDonough back on the ice yet. We'll see what we hear today at practice. And also the expected goals, like you look at Nashville's expected goal differential compared to their actual goal differential, and you get 2 very different feelings. So my minus this week is the word expected, because then I expect things and then I am disappointed. So to anybody who wants to talk about expected goals, expected goal differential, I just can't today because it's just been too disappointing over the last week to hear expected. So for me, expected, not so much, fat minus.
You're saying a lot of things were unexpected.
It was unexpected. I don't prep me for one thing and then show up with another, friends.
And for me, my minus goes to Thanksgiving. And I'm not talking about the actual holiday, because the actual holiday itself is awesome. There's a
Kills.
lot of food there. My minus is to the Nashville Predators not doing the Thanksgiving Day games anymore.
Yeah.
Do you remember when they used to play on Thanksgiving? Not like before, like the night before, that like the afternoon after, but you remember when they used to play on Thanksgiving?
Yes.
And the
Come
Nashville
on.
Predators tried to make that a tradition. And then I guess there were some NHL rules that came into play. No American teams could play on Thanksgiving. It was kind of like an extra day off for them. So the only games going on Thanksgiving are up in Canada. But, you know, it's kind of fun, wasn't it, Anne?
Yes.
Like, wasn't it kind of fun to, you know, chow down on a turkey during the day, head to Bridgestone Arena at night? It was usually another Canadian team coming to town, but those are always like fun ways to kind of end the night. I'm not sure. Maybe they just didn't. Maybe it was just the players didn't
like
want
it.
to play on it. Or like at least play, you know, everybody in Nashville seemed to like it, but maybe like players on the other team weren't fond about having to travel for Thanksgiving holiday. Maybe the NHL didn't really want to compete with the NFL because the NFL started doing like the Sunday night or the Thursday night games on Thanksgiving. I'm not sure why they did it, but it was always kind of fun and unique. Like it felt like the Predators thing.
Yeah.
Like to play like a game on Thanksgiving night to kind of like end the night. It was always fun. And I really kind of wish the Predators would bring that back.
That would be such a great tradition. And I get, you know, maybe wanting the extra day off, but I'm like, y'all, most of them aren't American. They already did Canadian Thanksgiving, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I think it would have been good. Like, that sounds amazing. I would be all in for like, hey, we're going to eat at 2:00, get your, you know, little turkey nap in, and then, you know, take the family down to Bridgestone Arena and watch a hockey game. I think, yeah, there's something to that would be amazing to bring back. I agree with you. That is a little bit of a fat minus.
That is. How about a fat plus? And let's end on one more plus today.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to give a fat plus to defensemen Jeremy Lauzon and Alexander Carrier. And I'm going to be very transparent about this plus, because sitting there and hearing the starting lineup for Chicago, knowing that Connor Bedard is on the ice, and then hearing that the defensemen that were going to be starting against him were Jeremy Lauzon and Alexander Carrier, I was like, I'm sorry, what? Like, that's Connor Bedard. Like, what are you? I mean, we do have Roman Josi. I don't know if you all forgot we have this defenseman. I want to give a fat plus with a slice of humble pie to Jeremy Lauzon and Alexander Carrier, because Jeremy Lauzon and Alexander Carrier were like, not today.
Yeah.
Not today. And really, you saw glimpses. You mentioned this. You saw glimpses when you were watching Connor Bedard in this game of this is somebody who gets high level hockey. Like, he's going to create some amazing things. This is Connor McDavid level guy.
Yeah.
But Jeremy Lauzon and Alexander Carrier really contained him. They're just did not allow him to generate a lot of chances that made everybody go, oh my gosh. There was also a moment where Jeremy Lauzon may or may not have tried to get like a piggyback. I don't know what that was about, but it worked defensively. Yeah. So shout out to Jeremy Lauzon and Alexander Carrier. Like, you accepted your assignment and you executed it so well. So my apologies. I was wrong, and I am sitting here in my wrongness being wrong. And B, fantastic performance by those guys. Fantastic.
Do you see the quote from Jeremy Lauzon that Sean Smith from Penalty Box Radio posted?
Let's go.
Just that we need to be a bit of a prick to play against, and we think we're missing that.
Yeah.
So that's what Preds hockey is all about.
Come on.
Yeah. I mean, they were. And Jeremy Lauzon, like, kind of stepped up, and so did Alexander Carrier.
Yeah.
Like, they frustrated that line. I'm not sure I want to put him out there every single top battle.
But they did. I mean, so great.
They did that job. Yeah. Shout out to them.
Yeah.
And also somebody else who somehow was up against Connor Bedard quite a few times and wound up scoring 2 goals in that game.
Come
Cole
on.
Smith.
Cole Smith. Come on.
I'm just saying, man. Like, Preds are getting some unlikely heroes in that Chicago game. And yeah.
I'm here for it. I am here for it. Now,
Oh.
if we can only get everybody to be heroic tonight against the Avalanche, because we've had games where we see the depth scoring coming in. You get Yakov Trenin getting his first goal despite all the expected, and you see Cole Smith getting it done and Gus Nyquist. Can we please just everybody tonight, top line, depth scoring, get some things going against the Avs?
Yeah, it would be ideal to get that going tonight in a time where they absolutely need to do that. Of course, tomorrow we're going to have a full recap of this game, go through the highs and lows, and our one word to describe it, no matter how it turns out. Anne, where can people find your work?
You can find my work online at InsideThePreds.com. You can find me on social media at AnnK_Mama on Ice.
You can find me at penaltyboxradio.com or follow me on social media @NS Morgan. That's going to do it on today's Locked On Predators podcast. Thanks for making us your first listen of the day. Back with an all new episode tomorrow. We'll see you then.